So I can guarantee that there are certain things that I can guarantee. The first thing is law enforcement would have covered it all over. Okay, as in law enforcement was BFFs with the people that were involved. Excuse me, and law enforcement basically covered it over. The people that were present there were definitely going to be people like Asad and Sohaib. They were never asked a single question. I can also guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that whomever the people were that were present and involved, law enforcement ended up running sex schemes and money fraud with them. How do I know this? Due to the fact that Sohaib would definitely be present. And I know for a fact law enforcement was running sex schemes with Sohaib because they would fill up my YouTube with, they basically called him Brad Pitt and they would fill it up with his videos on my YouTube. So, yeah, I can guarantee you that Sohaib wasn't ever asked a single question about it, though. That much I can guarantee. Now, the thing about it is just the fact that, so you have different kinds of criminals present. You have law enforcement who covered it over. They're definitely should be charged. I fully believe that they should be charged, not only because if I'm giving my perspective, but let's look at common sense over here. Let's look at the obvious. If they covered it over, they were running sex schemes and money fraud with everyone who was present, involved, knew about it, then they should definitely be charged. You can't just let them go every single time they do these kinds of things. So whatever happened at the wedding that they were trying to frame me for in 2023, they should definitely be charged for it. Now, the people that were definitely present were people like Asad and Sohaib. They were always present everywhere, every family gathering I couldn't afford to go to. You have to remember these things. Also, the entire year of 2023, law enforcement was running their money fraud. We know this for a fact because they just abruptly stopped asking me to help them with it. And at that time, I didn't want to help them out. I wasn't even like remotely interested in doing so, because by then I had found out about when they started asking me, excuse me, in 2022, I found out about my brain savant by then. And I would just like, it was just kind of like one of those things, you know, annoying pests and beggars. What I didn't know was they were asking me because they found out about my brain savant as well. So this occurred right after, a month or two after August 9, 2022. Obviously, law enforcement did not release the results of the brain savant test for 6 hours, done on August 9, 2022, but they obviously knew, and they were asking me with Remitly money ads all day, night long, like 2 months after August 9, 2022. And I kind of just ignored them like pests and beggars. And I was just waiting for my brain savant to get freed. I didn't think they knew. I just thought that they were using air drugging on me and these tools, because of which I wasn't able to use it. But I thought that later on, eventually the government would force them to let it go, at which time I would use it and get whatever I wanted to get from it. What I didn't know was they knew. They knew about it. Law enforcement obviously knew about it. And the reason they were asking me for the money ads was because they, I guess, wanted to see what the chances of them being able to benefit from it were as well, even though they didn't release the results to the public for 8 months. So the savant test was done for 6 hours on August 9, 2022, and law enforcement did not release the results for 8 months. Now, if you're listening, you're a common person, you get some sort of info. If you're in the government and you find out about these facts, you get a whole different kind of info. And if you look at the results from the 6 hour long savant test on August 9, 2022, you'll find out that I'm telling the truth over here. And law enforcement really did not release the results for 8 months. So the entire year of 2023, all law enforcement did was run their money fraud, basically unemployment disability fraud. No one gives their own money, and then they would wire transfer that money to their friends after meeting with the people, exchanging bank account number, phone numbers, everything of that sort of nature. Basically, that's what law enforcement was doing the entire year of 2023 while trying to frame me for this wedding that occurred. And at the same time, in November 2023, law enforcement was trying to aggressively run sex scheme ads with Uncle Joey, and they were aggressively trying to get me to help them out. I refused, due to which they did their stomach torture on me for days and stared me down in grocery stores. I really didn't care. That wasn't the only time I refused them. They asked me a bunch of times. Excuse me. So last time I saw, excuse me, Uncle Joey was probably when I was a child. Uncle Joey got caught. You probably tell from the phone conversation that I have with my mother from Russia. Uncle Joey gets caught with an online chat, and so basically that was the last time I saw him as a child. My mother never let me go near him after that incident. You tell from her anger that she was really pissed off. And after that, the facts and evidences will speak for themselves that I never saw Uncle Joey ever again. Until law enforcement tried to force me to talk to him multiple times in my life. One time, law enforcement put up on YouTube Uncle Joey from Full House, and then Uncle Joey's calling at my house. That's why he's called Uncle Joey. And he's calling at my house and asking me to talk to him through my mother, to which I refused immediately. Obviously, law enforcement being themselves tortured me for that as well. And basically, they did that a couple times. One time they called him over. Anyways, my point being, these are the kind of things that law enforcement was doing throughout 2023 when they were trying to frame me for a wedding. Not only were law enforcement doing these kinds of things, like running sex game ads for Uncle Joey, whom I refuse each and every time, regardless of how much law enforcement whined about it. Law enforcement basically whined about it so much that you have foreign statesmen like Pervez Elahi in Pakistan quoting Uncle Joey using words like Ehsan Faramosh, which basically means ungrateful child. And I was just thinking, like, who is this ungrateful child you know of? Basically, he was quoting Uncle Joey because these people started thinking that Uncle Joey was some BFF of law enforcement, which he was. And basically, law enforcement over here were trying to help Uncle Joey run these sex scheme ads, which I refuse each and every time they asked me, making it me being a child the last time I saw him. But these are the kinds of things that law enforcement were doing in the year 2023 when they were trying to frame me by flashing me with severe mental instability drugs every time a wedding was mentioned anywhere. That's how I knew something occurred at a wedding that they were trying to frame me for. And then eventually law enforcement, being as stupid as they are, confessed that they knew that I had nothing to do with this. They were just trying to frame me. And so basically this is the background for law enforcement. Now, the thing about it is, we're talking about people like Asad, who's a relative from Michigan. There was something that Bushra Akhtar was telling me in 2019. She was saying something, and I did not hear what she said. But the thing about it is, the one thing I can guarantee is that law enforcement knew whatever she was trying to tell me, and it was like middle of the night. I was like, I'm not interested. I don't want to know. I never knew. As soon as I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, all I've done is just work hard, and that's what the facts and evidence will show. I wasn't present anywhere because I couldn't afford to do so, nor did I ever have the interest in doing so. These people all were relatives from Michigan, like Asad were. They knew about everything that was going on, and they knew about exactly what it was that Bushra Akhtar was trying to tell me in 2019. No one cared, okay? Law enforcement did not care. In 2023, they were running their sex scheme ads with Uncle Joey very aggressively. They couldn't care less. They were running their money fraud in 2023 with unemployment disability money. They couldn't care less. Okay, so law enforcement couldn't care less about whatever it was that whomever was saying about whomever. I couldn't care. I couldn't hear it properly, and I just told her straight out, I really don't know, and I really don't care. And law enforcement knew, and they just didn't care. And my facts and evidences for my history will show and prove very clearly the fact that I was never present anywhere. From the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I was never present anywhere, and I couldn't know about anything. Whatever she was telling me, law enforcement definitely knew. But in the year 2023, all law enforcement was doing was running their money fraud and their sex scheme ads for people like Uncle Joey at the funeral, whom the last time I met was when I was a child, and that just happens to be that just happens to be the last time I actually met him, despite law enforcement trying to force me to do so. So, yeah, people like the reason I'm making this video is to let everyone know that the facts and evidences will clearly show that not only was the incident where that they were trying to frame me for in 2023. Assad and his family would be present there at the wedding. They would know fully about it. Whatever Bushra Akhtar was trying to tell me in 2019, Assad and his family would know fully about it. Law enforcement would know fully about it. And yet, this is what law enforcement was doing the entire year of 2023. And basically, the reason law enforcement is doing these things, and basically the reason law enforcement doesn't care, is due to the fact that law enforcement is only obsessed with my brain savant. They just want to lock it up. They want to make sure that they could lock it up. They want to make sure that I cannot use it. From day one, I've been arguing that this is all about my brain savant. And they just want to make sure that, I cannot use it at all. And the thing about it is, law enforcement, they haven't let me use it at all. From day one, even though I've been telling the courts over and over again that, they're using drugs on me. It's changing the way I talking and thinking. My entire personality changes. You'd probably already tell I cannot smile anymore. Anyways, basically what happened was,